Greetings, I'm Demonac, and it's arena time. Alright, time for another run. I'm not sure which way to go here. Not going to be warrior. Been bad experience with a warrior lately, and frankly, I don't like how bad their ability is for limited. The priest's ability is actually kind of strong in limited. They have some good cards. They're kind of weird though. I don't know. The rogue actually also has cards that feel weird to me. They're not. None of these are my main sort of classes. The rogue does have removal and can take advantage of pirate things, like things that require a weapon. But I don't like the removal thing up here. I guess I'm going to go with... I'm going to try rogue again. Probably regret it. But let's see how it comes out. First rare, we've got a Cold Light Oracle, because it wouldn't be the first rare without a Cold Light Oracle. It also has a Secret Keeper, which is pretty crummy. Rogues don't even have secrets. It's garbage. So it looks like I'm taking a questing adventurer, even though I don't find them as awesome as they used to be. It's actually... He's a much better rogue card than he is most other classes cards, because rogues have a lot of cheap things. They have a lot of things that work with combo anyway. Another rare right away. Another Cold Light piece of crap. The Mana Wraith can mess people up. I gotta try those out at some point, but not right now. Demolisher is pretty solid. It's kind of like a 3-4 for 3, but actually better in most ways. You get the Rifleman, who's not the best, not the worst. Same with the Harpy. Same with the Assassin's Blade. I mean, this would be kind of a super weapon for another class, but you are comparing it to the Rogue, who already has a pretty good weapon. So the 4 use is not as amazing. I'm going to take this anyway. It's pretty strong. Out of cheap guys, I kind of like Shield Bearer. I don't hate on him the way some people do. Don't like this, but Bluegill Warrior I like much better because he's a little bit more removal-y. You need to be buffed to be any good. Might take the Engineer. It's like having a smaller deck, which is pretty good. Conceal could be okay, but it's kind of weird. I'd rather have the Engineer. I know you can't go wrong with it. Like, it's not necessarily what you want to draw. It's not necessarily the best card, but you can't go too wrong because it replaces itself. Out of these, Raid Leader's pretty good. Mad Bomber is actually interesting, but no, I gotta take the Yeti. He's so just efficient stats for the cost. That's what you need. Tempted to take the Stormwind Champion, but there's one thing that I've learned. It's the thing that I knew at the start, but don't always listen to as much as I should, and often I don't get a choice. It's take the goddamn removal. In a limited format, whatever removal you can get is much better than not having removal. Okay, don't care about you or you. You're awesome, so that was an easy choice. This is a harder choice. I used to not like Deadly Poison too much, but actually, I mean, this is giving you +2 attack for at least 2 uses, more if you use it with a sword. If you have pirates, then you can get it cheap stuff. Plus, because it's a 1-cost card, it helps you trigger off combo stuff, which I have none of, but I might get some because I'm a rogue. Then again, there's Spellbreaker, who is awesome, and Silverhand Knight, who is actually pretty awesome too. I mean, he's giving you 6 power and 6 toughness for the cost. I'm going to take the Spellbreaker because he's the most removal-y to me, although it could be argued. Here we get another rare, and it's another rare I don't really care about that much. These are not great for me. Whenever a character's healed, can't guarantee that. Mana Addict is, it's okay, but she doesn't get the bonus permanently. So, she doesn't blow me away with awesomeness, even though as a rogue, I should have more spells that I could at least get her to 3-3 on many turns. I'm taking the Master of Disguise because, even though I don't use her in Constructed, she does have, she has an ability that's okay, and she's an okay size for her cost. 3 and 4 cost stuff, especially the 4 cost, often does win the arena. This looks like removal, but it's not, because it only damages enemy heroes, which means it's stupid unless you have some kind of a combo deck, not the rogue ability combo, actual combos deck, or you tried to build sort of an engine to use direct damage and burn down your opponent. This is I consider this of no use whatsoever. Geomancer could be good. You could boost other stuff. Ventricle Mercenary could also be good, because you can always have more fatness. Geomancer's tempting, because the Rogue has a lot of damage cards that draw you a card. They tend to have low numbers, but they become very good if they're boosted. I think I'm going to take the Mercenary, though, because I don't know how much direct damage I'm going to get. I don't like you for the cost. I've already turned down a bunch of Murlocs. I finally get to take him! There is nothing in this set of 3 cards that I would rather have than a 3/3 for 3 who also happens to heal me or a damaged minion 3 health. That's kind of cool. Giant, this is bad removal as far as I'm concerned. I don't like it that much. There's so many things in this. In Magic the Gathering, this would be okay. Like, Unsummon is fine. In Magic the Gathering, it would also probably be an instant, which you don't have in Hearthstone, obviously. But there's so many things with Battle Cry that many creatures are not a good target to send back with this. If you can send back something fat that doesn't have Battle Cry, that's awesome, but I just find this isn't so great. If this was any minion, if you could do your own, then this would be very good, because it'd be flexible. But no, I don't like that. I'm going to take 1 Sprint. Sprint's not my favorite, one of those late-gamey sort of save-your-butt cards, but I don't mind. I'm a rogue, so don't get the other ones, because they're all other classes, and it's probably worth having 1 Sprint. Might save my butt. You are okay. I don't want Conceal. Stop trying to give me Conceal, you bum. I really don't want, what? I could have had 3 Conceals by now. What the hell would I do with 3 Conceals? It's not that great. But the Berserker is pretty efficient for the cost. I don't have a way to manipulate him, but he's still fine for 2. I'm tempted to take the Patriarch, even though I don't like him very much. I don't have a lot of taunt stuff yet, but I'm going to take the one that draws me a card, because cards are power, man. You're the only good card out of these, as far as I'm concerned. I probably use the Core Hounds in a Hunter deck if I have some beast stuff. Like, if I have the Rhino that gives all your beasts charge, if you play it and it doesn't die right away, and then you get to charge out the Core Hounds, then they're kind of awesome. I love Dark Iron Dwarf. I'm going to miss you, Dark Iron Dwarf, because I need removal. Removal. Speaking of removal, here's removal. I would like to take the Dread Corsair. I mean, he's not that good. I always think he should be so awesome, because I always have a weapon. With the weapon, he's just a Grizzly Bears. He's only better if I have, like, applied the poison, or if I've got my Assassin's Blade or something. So, he's not actually as good as I tend to give him credit for, just, like, automatically by being a rogue. Eviscerate is very good. It's so cheap, and it can fairly easily deal 4 damage, but I think I have to take the Assassinate just for those problem circumstances. I might regret it. Like, Eviscerate is most of the time going to be just as good, but I'm going to take that anyway. Okay, take another Assassin's Blade. I think 1's enough. I'd rather have the Dragonling Mechanic, which is kind of like another Yeti. Okay, here's my fixed rare. These guys, I wish I had him in some other class's deck. He's good for warriors, good for priests, could be good for other stuff. Not so much for rogue, especially with my cards here. Kodo he's like perfectly good. I just don't like him for some reason, because it's 2 or less. If it was 3 or less, he'd be fantastic. I find often I get him, and there are either too many things that have 2 or less attack, and he won't get the one I want. He'll just hit like a token, or else there's nothing with 2 or less attack, and then I'm just getting a bad creature for 5. Blade Fury. Destroy your weapon and deal less damage to all enemies. So this is at worst just like an expensive sort of Whirlwind attack. Although Whirlwind attack hits everything and this only hits enemies. It has some potential though, like I could sack the Assassin's Blade and do 3 to all enemies, which would be pretty cool. Sort of makes me wish I'd taken the other Assassin's Blade. I'm gonna take this because it's more removal, but now I'm kind of fishing for another weapon. There's the Fan of Knives. I'm taking this because it draws a card and does 1 damage to all minions. 2/3 of the way through. He would boost some stuff, but I don't know. He's kind of expensive for that. I'd almost rather have the 3/2. So do I want the 3/2 or 1/1 that can deal 1 damage? This is kind of like removal, but it is also just like a 1-cost card. It's not that great. What do I have in the 2-cost range? Kind of weak set, like mostly removal in 2-cost. I don't have a lot of 2-cost creatures, so I'm going to take him. Kind of sad. Here are much better 2. I would have taken either of these guys over the stupid Raptor, but now I can't. Well, okay. Do I take the Yeti or the Swamp Ooze? Swamp Ooze kills a weapon. I mean, this is a guy I have 2 of in every one of my constructed decks by default, just like automatically. So that's very good. This guy is worth a card, and he has better stats than the Engineer, although he obviously doesn't give you the card right away, and that means that things can happen. I had a game, I was using my testing out a priest deck, and I got to... there's that 4-cost card that temporarily mind controls an enemy creature for 1 turn, and I stole his loot hoarder, used it to trade with one of his other things, and I got the card from the death rattle. Because I controlled it. That was pretty funny. But beside the point, Yeti or Swamp Ooze, you know what? Swamp Ooze is amazing and constructed, but here I think having more solid 4-cost large creatures is going to get me more wins. That's what I think. Here's a bonus rare. She's like okay for a card, but not as good as some other rares. The Wild Pyromancer I'm starting to have a lot more respect for. He can manipulate the situation. I have a number of spells which, coupled with him, would result in a lot of damage to my opponent's stuff, and some damage to himself and to my other stuff. There's also the Abomination, who is amazing. I'm going to take the Abomination. Last time I didn't take him, I had like the worst possible deck for it, but normally the Abomination is just like a gimme. Tidehunter is actually pretty good. Cold Blood is actually pretty good. This is a permanent bonus to their attack. It's cheap. You can give something +4. It also sort of functions as impromptu removal. Like, if you're going to trade with a creature anyway, you can get it big enough to kill something. Betrayal is very good. I'm going to have, at this point, I'm going to have so many Betrayals that your opponent does have to have several creatures for this to do anything. If they have 2 creatures, it's okay. If they have 3 creatures, gets to be pretty good, usually. Cold Blood is also good. I don't have any combos with this particularly. I'm going to take the Betrayal anyway. More killing. And do I want the Mad Bomber? I have some card drawing, and I have a lot of sort of medium-sized creatures which are fairly large. I'm thinking I might take the Mad Bomber over the Elven Archer. He has a lot more stats when he comes out. Oh, here we go. He's sort of removable, but we got Backstab, which is pretty cool because it's cheap. If my deck had a lot of combo, I might take this, but I don't really. And Shiv, yeah, it costs mana, but it's still pretty cheap. It does only 1 damage instead of 2, but it draws me a card every time. It is excellent. And now I get an Eviscerate. The Fen Creeper is tempting because I don't have a lot of taunt, but I'm going more removal. My plan is removal. The plan is to kill everything and then be the last one standing in the wreckage of the battlefield. You're fat but don't have taunt, so you're not actually very good unless... I mean, I know a lot of warriors use them with stuff that gives them taunt, or maybe druids with stuff that gives them taunt. I don't have any stuff like that, so not a big fan of him. River Crocodile is actually a pretty good 2-drop because there are very few things the opponent can play that cost 2 that the River Crocodile can't kill, and a good many things that your opponent might play for 2 that the Crocodile can actually kill and survive. So he actually works out pretty well. But I think it's got to be Cold Blood for more damage. I wish it had a breakdown of how many creatures I have. How many non-creatures do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot. 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 things that aren't creatures in here. I'm going to pass on this. I'm going to take the one that's a creature. You got to balance your stuff, man. You got garbage. I do actually have enough spells to make the mana at it kind of work, but no. Mind Control Tech is more likely to completely save the day. It's still, like, unlikely, but more likely to completely randomly save the day. So I'm going to try him out, and he's also a 3/3. He's fine. So that's what I've got. I have the removal. I have a harder time complaining that I don't have the removal this game. It's not necessarily the ones I would like, but Betrayal's pretty good. I think Betrayal is very good. We're going to find out the hard way how good Betrayal is by testing it in the arena. I almost got easy pickings. It's a shaman. And Betrayal is so good in my theory crafting point of view that I actually took the vanishes. I used it to replace the vanishes in my constructed rogue deck. I have a lot of cheap stuff, and you're kind of expensive, so I'm going to trade you. The card's more useful later in the game anyway. I'm going to keep removal. I'm going to keep him because I don't want to end up with nothing as cheap as 3, even though he's much better late game too. I really should have pitched him too. Oh, yeah. I should have pitched him too, but I really didn't want to end up with nothing castable, and I'm pretty close to that. Going first so bad. There's a much better chance I would have early game plays if I had gone second, not even counting the coin, which I would also have. So this is not very good. At least I can sort up.
Here we go.
I stab you for what? I don't call this one Kung Fu like I do with the Druid, because the Druid's doing it with his bare hands. Literally bare hands sometimes. Whereas the Rogue is actually stabbing you with something. Okay, well, you know, even though he's much better later, I'm kind of glad I kept the mind control tech, because he's a 3-3 right now, and he's looking pretty good on this battlefield. And I'm not going to save my sword. I might as well do 1 more damage. It's not great removal as long as he has the healing totem out. I can't soften anything up. Like, I have to actually kill him. If this was like a spell power totem or something, I would have hit it with the sword, I think. Silver Moon Guardian. Well, that's no good. Got 4 mana, so I could play a sword and betrayal something, which is pretty sad right now. The problem is, as long as he's got that bubble, he's just going to kick my guy's butt. For free, basically, like, just for the bubble. And I hate that, but my plays to remove it right now are so weak and sad that I'm better off just playing the Yeti and going for some damage. I mean, he might use this guy to soften up the Yeti and then kill these guys both with an AoE. That would be pretty annoying, but I gotta try and get out more stuff, because using the sword to pop the bubble, the betrayal wouldn't even do it, because the totem's not... It can't do damage to him, so I could use it to kill the totem, and that's just sad.
What to do?
What do you got? I'm looking at this. It's an interesting thing. Playing against a rogue, you might want to make your guys kind of lopsided with the totems here. Ah! Okay, the Wind Fury is very unfortunate. He didn't go for the Yeti. I thought he was going to soften up the Yeti. I'm actually less bothered by the extra 3 damage from Wind Fury than if he was going to kill the Yeti somehow. So that's fine. Now, I could play something bigger, but I can actually just kill off both those totems. I know totems are kind of sad, and it seems like a dumb use of betrayal, but if he has these ones out, that one can attack me. He's going to, and like the Yeti's going to be pretty hurt after I kill that guy, which I have to do. So that'll be able to attack me. Plus, he's got these 2 out. Now he has to get Spell Power or Taunt, both of which are more dangerous to me. I think I may actually be doing that. Betrayal. You know what? If I'm casting Betrayal, then my other thing is probably going to be the Mad... No, I'll probably just do a sword. I'm not going to do the Mad Bomber for that. So, yeah, we'll do this. It's pretty sad, but it does kill off 2 totems for 1 card. Even though it seems like a big waste of that card. I get rid of him because he was bad, and I'm not going to play the Mad Bomber because I have more stuff to be wounded. I could have played him before, but he wouldn't have done that much to the totems. He might have killed one. It doesn't matter if I'm going to Betrayal anyway. Like, I could have played him before, seen if he killed the 1/1 totem. That would have been nice, and then not played Betrayal, but I didn't have much else to do that was good. And he might have softened up my Yeti, which would have could have, if I was really unlucky, made my Yeti only have 3 toughness and die trading with that other guy. So it didn't seem like the time for the Mad Bomber. Assassinate! Boy, am I not going to blow that one like I used my other removal card. Probably want to kill that with the sword. And then, yeah, just play something large. That's what I'm going to do. Oh my god. My brain failed and I clicked that instead of... That was so mind-bogglingly stupid. Go me. I can't even do anything else good with my turn now. That was the worst move ever. I should have had out my Silverhand Knight, which I was going to do. I guess I should have cast him first before stupidly doing that. I meant to click on, like, attack with the sword, and somehow my brain translated that to cast the sword. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I'd be in a much better position to deal with this. Now I have to waste a whole turn assassinating it, whereas I would have had, like, a guy out. Well, since I have to waste 5 mana assassinating that, I guess I'm going to play the Mad Bomber. He has less chance of hitting me right now. Not much less. And then I'll assassinate that. That misclick last turn was so bad. It's not even a bad play. It is a misclick, because I was like, I even said what I was doing. Like, I can attack with the sword. Just didn't do it. I'm going to attack him for 1 anyway, because this is the only way I'm making progress right now, and I might want to cast this later. Yeah, I maybe should have saved the sword. I don't know. I would have been so... If I had a Silverhand Knight out instead of that 1 durability on the sword there, I would have been so much better off. Oh my god. So, I can eviscerate something if I play a card. That'll do 4 damage, so I can use that to kill him. That'll be pretty decent. I want Silverhand or the Ventrico Mercenary. Probably Silverhand, because the Ventrico guy stopped me from casting other stuff. Yeah.
Squire, attend me.
Ready, sir.
You are dead. And I'll get through for some damage. If he lightning storms and kills off my entire army, then I'll be wishing that I had traded for that guy. But even then, there's only a 50-50 chance he would kill this, even with the spell power. Spell damage. It was called spell power earlier in the beta. But I guess that was confusing because you would expect it to do healing. I actually didn't play with it long enough before the patch to know if it affected healing from spells at all. Those fire elementals are causing me problems. We have some squire-on-squire violence. So why would he? Why is he looking at the squire anyway? Obviously, he'd kill the Mad Bomber because he's bigger, and they're both the same once they're in play. Okay, so that's not going to be bad to have around. I could play one of these 2 guys and sprint. I still am probably better off playing the guys in my hand. So these 2 guys together could trade for him, which is unfortunate, but probably necessary. Yeah, I think the best thing to do... Well, no, instead of casting both of these guys, because he's got a 2/1 that can just trade for 1, I'd be better off using 2 mana for this... 2 mana for my dagger, 2 mana to cast one of these guys, and then spend the rest on him. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to intentionally click the dagger for once. Kill that. Going to hit that. I think we're going to keep the squire out. There's 1 more toughness. So I'm going to play the bluegill. Kill that. And since I haven't screwed up my count in some way, play the Ventrico Mercenary. Do I trade for the squire or go for more beatdown? I have a decided advantage in play, but it's a lot easier for him to take care of this with 2 guys. You know what? In case he has Bloodlust, I'm going to trade. I'm going to bet that I have more removal in my deck than he does, especially with the weapon, especially with this in my hand. So I'm going to try and keep the board clear for my stuff as much as I can. That's pretty unpleasant. Now his Corehound is going to come back from the dead. Yeah, that is really bad. I don't have a lot of taunt stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do to stop that. I could sprint and draw some cards. If we're racing right now, I lose. Well, I mean, theoretically, I'd win. If nobody could play cards anymore, I would win. But in practice, I will lose. This guy's stopping me from casting other stuff. I could play the Assassin's Blade. It's not doing that much for me, though. Like, I can't just use it to hit that thing. That'd be suicidal. I'm going to have to sprint and see if I get anything that improves my situation, although I don't know what that would be, necessarily. Blade Fury, yeah. So that means I could AoE for 3 with the sword. Later, not now, obviously. I'm going to shiv this thing. Just draw myself another card. The Abomination might help. Okay, that makes things interesting. Now I have a creature with taunt. Yeah.
The gates are open.
You know, he has a creature with taunt.
Feel the power.
Oh my god. I didn't see that coming. Now I'm screwed. So he decided to go for the trade rather than knocking me down to 1. That's probably smart because I maybe could have, like, killed him somehow. He's also got his guys lined up in a way that is good against betrayal, unfortunately. But, so yeah, what I'm going to have to do is play my Assassin's Blade for 5, sack it for 2 to Blade Fury, and betrayal this guy, do 3 damage to each of them. And that will wipe out all his forces, and then we're kind of resetting. So I'm going to betrayal first. And then Assassin's Blade. I can hit him for... No, I can't hit him for 3. Damn it. Okay. Blade Fury. Oh, it does still hit him for the damage. Okay. If he hadn't had a taunt guy, that would have been really awesome, because I would have hit him for more. Now we're even health, and I have tons of cards. Removal is king. Doesn't mean I have 1, but removal is king. I'm in a good place. Okay, so he's got another card he's thinking of using. Oh, he got the taunt thing, too? Wow. That's pretty unpleasant, because I burned a hell of a lot of removal to do that. Now, I can silence something. I think I'm going to save that as a surprise, so I can silence his taunt totem and attack. But maybe I should actually silence this guy, just because it's risky to have him alive. It's pretty risky to have him alive. I can do so much more if I don't play the Spellbreaker this turn, though. If the Abomination, heal myself for 3 with this guy, play something else, I'm going to take the risk that not silencing him. Because, I mean, he doesn't have any cards in his hand, so he doesn't have anything else to help it. He would have to top deck. Heal myself for 3. And both of these guys would survive. This guy's a lot better, unless you need beasts. This guy would actually survive the Abomination Apocalypse and become large, so we'll see what happens. He's looking for a Hex, probably. A Hex or Silence. Anything that would stop the Abomination from exploding, basically. The Cult Master is pretty good, though. Now he can suicide his army and draw a billion cards. Oh my god. He has chosen not to suicide his army, though. Interesting. He only has 10 health. He's dead.
Your magic shall not save you.
Get in there! Fight!
Unless my math is fail. I stab at thee. Yes. Wow, I can't believe he didn't attack. After he put out the Cult Master, he could have attacked with his Wind Fury guy and his... Actually, he could have just attacked twice with the Wind Fury guy. His 3/3 would have survived. The rest of his army would have died. He would have drawn 3 cards. Oh, no, he wouldn't, because the Cult... Oh, I apologize to my opponent. I'm calling him on an error that he didn't make, because actually the Cult Master would die at the same time as them, which means he would not trigger off his ability to draw the cards. So, I don't know what my opponent could have done there. I think he probably still needed to kind of kill everything off, but it may not have worked out for him. It wasn't as clear-cut as I thought. Game can get complicated, and we'll find out how complicated next time. Please click the like button before it clicks you.